What's going on with Kawhi? What's going on with the injury? Let's talk about it. We talk about how there are mixed emotions when it comes to the Kawhi Leonard situation. Because when we look at this Kawhi Leonard situation in its entirety, in regards to the injury, it's really a mind-boggling situation to me, because now I want to state by saying this: I'm always on the player's side. I'm always on the player side. If a player says he's hurt, if a player is not feeling right, if a player says he needs a second opinion, if a player says the medical staff did me wrong, I'm always on the player side, because the player knows how their body feels, and only they know. Can't no doctor tell you how you feel more than you can. A doctor can say, oh yeah, you're cleared to play basketball, but if when you wake up in the morning, something just doesn't feel right, something isn't right. And that's just the way it goes. You know your body better than anybody can ever tell you. Now, this situation right here with the Clippers and the Kawhi Leonard situation is very, very mind-boggling, because, for a while, like we all knew of, I should say, it was a knee sprain. And you heard Kawhi Leonard after the game he got injured said he'll be fine. And you thought to yourself that Kawhi would be fine, just by what he said after that game he got injured. Then it goes into a day-to-day situation, knee sprain. Then they start saying, Adrian Wojnarowski and a lot of other ones, media people start saying, well, we don't know what level sprain it is, 1, 2, or 3. Then it went from that to now, where we are now. It's about, he had surgery on his knee. And I truly think Kawhi Leonard having surgery on his knee really had the Clippers organization, mind boggled, because I feel like they were unaware that he would have needed knee surgery. And you never want a player to start getting surgery on his knees or his back or anything, because when you start chopping on your knees and things like that, your abilities and all those things kind of diminish as we go along. And, Kawhi Leonard, he's been through a series of injuries, and I hope he comes back 100% the way he was. Yeah, like I said, I hope he comes back 100% the way he was, but who's to say whether he will or he won't? I'm not sure. But I hope he does, because like I said, Kawhi Leonard is a great player. He's a top 5 player in the league. I personally think he's the best player in the league myself. But at the same time, you definitely want to see your player come back 100% and play at the level that he was playing, because if he doesn't, then the Clippers definitely don't have a chance of going far without his expertise. And that's just the way it goes. But my thing is this too, this is the reason why Kawhi has always did load management, because he knows that he has always had knee problems. He knows that he's an injury-prone type player, but he also knows that he's a great player. So the load management just helps him be, a better player in the playoffs, where he can save some of his energy and utilize it when it really counts the most, so he won't miss any games in the playoffs when his team needs him the most, which is a very smart move, I always thought, by Kawhi Leonard. And plus, Kawhi Leonard comes from the San Antonio way, where, sitting and resting players was the San Antonio way. Greg Popovich did it so much that I feel like he mentally made those players think that that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to rest yourself. You're supposed to pace yourself until the playoffs. And then when the playoffs start, you give it everything you got and you leave everything out on the floor. And that's exactly, how Greg Popovich had all his players thinking. And something, that's exactly what helped them, which propelled them to win championships as many years as they did. They built a dynasty for a reason. To keep a dynasty, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to mellow out your players. You have to, get them going for the postseason, because the postseason is where everything counts. The regular season is meaningless to a lot of people. With the exception of a few games here and there in the regular season that would be good matchups. But that's what Kawhi Leonard is used to. And that's what Kawhi Leonard goes by. He goes by that regimen. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's always done. And I always thought it was a smart one. In this situation here, it's looking all like San Antonio again. It looks like, that situation that they had where he was misdiagnosed and he was unhappy with the medical staff. Then he goes to his secondary medical staff, which I think was in New York at the time, where he got a second opinion and he stayed out some games. And it really worked out to his favor that he stayed out, because he came back better when he came to Toronto and won a championship. So, Kawhi is a pretty smart dude. He seems very calculated about how he does things. And he's also very quiet doing it, of course. But at the same time, you have to respect what he's done and the decisions that he's made, because the outcome has always been way more significant than the injury that he had. Because like I said, he came off the situation with San Antonio, and then when he was healthy, went 1 year to Toronto, pulls off a championship, which was unbelievable. So my thing is, you have to trust Kawhi Leonard in what he's doing, because he's proven that he knows what's best for himself rather than any doctor or team doctor that's trying to tell him something that he particularly doesn't care about. Because you have to understand, these teams, the team doctors are there for the team. They get paid by the team. So they're trying to clear you to play as quick as you can just to appease the team, just so you could be out there and it could make the organization happy. So they'll rush a couple of days here and there. They will rush, you to play better or play quicker or go out there on the floor quicker, just so they can get their point, not their point across, but just so they can have you out on the floor and, have you as a product on the floor to, sell tickets and, generate more money coming into the team and giving them a better chance to win. That's what these team doctors are there for. And Kawhi Leonard's not for that. So my thing is, I think the Clippers were unaware that Kawhi would need surgery. I think it was a shock to the organization. I'm not sure what they think of Kawhi Leonard now in regards to that, because now they know he's going to probably be out for a few months into the season. And that's not what they were hoping for. But I mean, that's just probably where they're at. And that's probably where it's gonna be going forward. So there's nothing they could do about that. And at the same time, like I said, it is what it is now. Kawhi had the surgery, and we just hope that Kawhi comes back, 100% healthy. Because, I mean, he is one of the top players in the league, and you definitely want to see them come back at their best. And any ACL, MCL type injuries are never good to hear, because a lot of times it just diminishes a little bit more off the great players' greatness, because, I mean, it limits them in the things that they would do. And mentally, it just changes them as a person, because, like, when your knees are not where they were or as strong as they used to be, mentally it makes you think, oh, I can't do this, or I can't jump as high as I used to. And hopefully Kawhi doesn't come back with that mentality. He doesn't strike me as that type of person, but at the same time, surgery is surgery, man. It definitely does something to you, and it definitely, takes a part of you away. And we have to understand that. And, even though we may not like it, but we have to embrace that, because that's just the way it is. And we just hope Kawhi comes back 100% healthy. But my point at the same time, I hope it all gets settled. I hope Kawhi, decides to stay in LA, because I think that's where he belongs. And I hope he comes back healthy and delivers a championship. I think he at least needs 3 or 4 championships on his resume. 2 is great. 2 is outstanding. But I think if he gets that 3rd and 4th championship, I think that'll put him up there where he probably really wants to be before his career is over with. And, he has an opportunity with this team if everybody can stay healthy, stay together. Or, like I said in other previous videos, they made a trade to where they actually get the same value of a person back in return. Well, that'd be great too. Even though I like to see the band stay together, but business is business, so you have to look at it that way. But hey, like I said, I think there's a lot of mixed emotions and mixed thoughts and confusion with this Kawhi Leonard situation, injury and everything like that, just as it was in San Antonio. I just hope no bad things come out of the locker room or reports or anything like that come out more about the situation, about somebody lying or somebody not being truthful about, injuries and how you treated Kawhi Leonard, with his knee injury and everything. Because I tell you, anything that comes out negative, it is definitely going to make Kawhi Leonard go and sign somewhere else. And that's not what the Clippers want. You built your whole franchise around this guy because you know how great he is, and you saw him deliver championships at the highest level. So it's no need to try to part ways or have him part ways with you just because you're trying to push him to be out there so it can better your chances of winning one season, even though them winning championship this season would have been great. But at the same time, you know, you got to look at long term. Kawhi healthy can give you maybe 1 or 2 championships instead of just 1 or none. So you have to look at it that way, too, even though you might not want to. But at the same time, like I said, we just have to see how it goes. I'm glad Kawhi got the surgery, got it out the way. He can start rehabbing and, you know, getting back to his normal self. And hopefully he'll be back 100% and no other injuries come his way. And he turns back into the player that he was before. Because when he was, you know, healthy in the playoffs, he arguably was making a case for the best player in the league because he was 38-4, I think, was his numbers. Unbelievable. And he was shooting like 55, 60+% from the field in the playoffs. I mean, that's video game, you know, 2K numbers, you know what I'm saying? It's just no other way to look at that. So you definitely want to see, you know, him come back healthy and play at his highest level. But we'll see how it all turns out. Hopefully it's just, you know, him getting the surgery, comes back and he resigns with the team, or at least opts in to sign a bigger contract going forward and, you know, stays in LA because I think that fits him the most. But, hey, that's my take on the situation. Let me know what you think in the comment section. As always, we'll talk about it. And Cali out.